maybe what it is you want, need, or expect maybe isn't always reasonable. Should you water it down, or should you stand on you being authentic to yourself?
Well, first and foremost, I think being authentic is it should be a natural part of the process. I don't want to be known as fake. You know what I mean? Even if you don't agree with what I'm talking about, I want you to say at the end of the day, I know who this man is. I know what he's about. He's pretty much stays on a certain line. But I'm all matter of fact, I work very hard at being authentic, because I actually believe that I'm some in certain circles I'm misunderstood.
Mhm.
People don't really understand what motivates me, what what my true purpose is, because I'm just figuring out what my true purpose is. So if I'm just figuring out what my true purpose is, how the hell do I expect you to know what my true purpose is when I haven't figured it out yet?
Mhm.
So as I'm working on it, because like I said, I mentioned earlier, I'm in a transformative stage right now. I own it. I admit to it. I don't have even at my age, I don't have all the answers. I'm quick to tell you I don't have all the answers. I don't think that makes me any less smart. I don't think that it makes me any less seasoned. I don't think that makes me any less anything. It just makes me what I am. And I just think that if you're going to deal with me, good, bad, or indifferent, then you need to understand, what my value system is about, what my truth meter, how it reads, things of that nature is. Like I said, you don't always like what comes out of my mouth, but that's
Mhm.
that's not my job for you to like everything that comes out of my mouth. My job for me to when I put myself first, because I think a lot of people, and there's a difference between putting yourself first and being selfish. Let's be clear on
Yeah,
that first and foremost.
yeah,
But being true to yourself is a lot less painful than watering yourself down and shrinking like a violet when people, because people are going to project on you. Let's be clear on it. Even your bestest of friends, unless your name is Brian Murray, uh, they're going to project on you. And that's not that they're bad people. That doesn't mean they want bad for you. Everybody has an objective and a goal tied up in these wants, needs, and expectations. And sometimes they kind of people to make them interchangeable. Like, okay, so when we're talking about, even me thinking that I'm being reasonable might be unreasonable to you, but that's the part where we talk about it. You know what I mean? I see. I have some built-in questions I ask. So when I tell you what I want, need, or expect, my usually follow-up question is that reasonable? And
Mhm.
this is the part where you get to tell me, Chris, that's reasonable, or Chris, that is not reasonable, and we can explore it from there. I actually, on the level of communicating with the people that are really close to me, the people that I spend a lot of time with and have spent time with over the years, I expect you to have that conversation with me. I don't expect you to like I said, back up or withdraw from the situation. I expect us to get into it. You know what I mean? Because maybe there's something I'm not seeing here, and I actually need your help to see it. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
That's where I'm at. You know what I mean? As much as you hate being wrong, because we all hate being wrong. Let's be real here, right? The fact of the matter is, every once in a while, there ain't, as I like to say, there ain't that much right in the world. Okay, so if I'm wrong, if you're one of my supporters, one of my really great friends, one of my confidants, somebody that I have on the short list, you need to be prepared to tell me about myself every once in a while. I
Yep.
mean, because you're only going to what you're going to do is help me. You
Yep.
know, what I mean, I may not enjoy it to begin with, but if I know where it's coming from your authentic self, then I can get on board. Okay, well, maybe I need to rethink this, Chris.
yeah,
Yep. So it's funny you bring that up because I just made a note, and the word was accountability, right? And that's exactly what you're talking about, Chris. Is in those situations when you're having those conversations, someone that's gonna hold you accountable, have a position on it to say, well, that's reasonable or unreasonable. And it's funny, Chris. I know we have talked, as you said, many times about many different things, and I know I shared with you one time we were talking about. Uh, being a mentor and showing some guidance and that kind of thing. And I said, I can't be your mentor without sometimes being your tormentor. And that's true because that's the other side of the coin. You have to bring, as I say, the yin and the yang of it to the table and be open and talk about that. But going back to where we first started with this conversation, that's where I think people fall short is either, as I said, A, they think people just intuit, you should know and read my mind, that
Mhm.
that's how I feel about that, or we have this fear, or we're afraid because we don't want to be seen pushy, or we don't want to be too forward, or we don't want to be rejected or judged or whatever else that it might be. So we don't say the things that we should say. And that's on both sides. That's speaking outbound as to what it is I want, need, and expect, or that's someone placing a want or need or expectation on you, you feeling as if it's unreasonable, but then not saying anything to say that it's unreasonable, and you just wallow and accept it. So there's two sides to that coin. Well, Erica, what thoughts do you have on that piece? Because I think that's a key component of it. How do you get down that road cleanly from an accountability standpoint?
And I hate to describe myself as this, but I really like just to make people happy. And so uh, when I'm in that situation, I really have had to work on myself to speak up and to share. I don't feel comfortable with this. I, um, I cannot do this, or this does not make me happy, or I don't have the time for this, or this just isn't good for me. I think wanting, especially when you care about somebody, you love people. Um, and again, if you don't set your own agenda, people will set that agenda for you. I, for me, that has been very difficult to say no to people that I love, but ultimately to be your authentic self and to finish the race that you've been put on the earth to run, you have to express to people, this just isn't for me. This situation's not for me, or I cannot give you what you need at the I can't give you what you need. Let me just say it this time. I
Yeah.
can't give you what you need, or I'm I'm not for you, or this is not for you. Whether it's a career, the situation is not for you at a company, or in a relationship. I think that has been something that I am working on myself, and I work with people in relationships for a living, and I am coming to understand that a person will be much happier if you just express that and allow the other person to receive what you're saying. And
Agreed.
it helps save time,
Agreed.
right?
Yeah.
It might make you, because if you're a people pleaser like me, it might make you a little uncomfortable. But I tell you what, you won't be stressed out trying to figure out how you're gonna make things work in a situation that you didn't want to be in the first place.